In this lecture, we will be seeing what are servlets. Servlets are named because they run on the server side. So, they are just uh, Java applications which run on the server. Before starting with servlets, we will first see what is client server architecture. So, client server architecture is a network architecture in which the computers are on a network, and these computers are either a client or a server. So what do we mean by a client or a server? So the client is just a PC which is on the network and which runs some applications, and it may request something from the server, and servers are the computers or the processes which are dedicatedly managing some task, like it may be a file server, or it may be a print server, or it may be a database server, or it may be a network server. Basically, like for example, if the client wants a file, then the client will send a request. So the client server architecture works on the request response paradigm. So if the client wants something, the client will send a request to the server, and the server will then do some processing on server side, and after doing the processing it will send some response back to the client. So let's say you are the customer of some banking application, and you want to know the balance of your account. So what you will do is you will use some PC or a laptop to access the website of your bank, and you will send a request to access your net banking account. What will happen is the client will send a request to the server, and then the server will send a response asking for the login details. So once the client has entered the username and the password, this username password will be again sent as a request to the server. The server will then check if the login username and password are matching in the database, and then it will log the client into the uh, net banking account. And after logging in, the client can then perform various actions like do some NEFT transaction, or view balance, or open a PPF account, and so on. So for that, again the client will send a new request, and the server will again respond with a new response. So basically, this is how the client server architecture works. Now, the same server can serve multiple clients. Client 1, client 2, client 3, there can be n number of clients which are requesting the same server, and the server is responding to every client based on the request that the client has made. So, this is the client server architecture. Now, to understand the client server architecture in detail, we will take a look at what is HTTP. So, HTTP, or Hypertext Transfer Protocol, is a protocol which follows the simple request and response paradigm that we just saw. So, what the client does is it opens a TCP connection to the server. So, what is TCP? TCP is just Transmission Control Protocol, and it is a standard that defines how we can establish and maintain a network. The client will open a TCP connection. So let's say this is the server and this is the client. So what the client will do is it will open a TCP connection from the client to the server, and this will be done by default on port number 80. 80 is the default port for HTTP. Then the client will make a request to the server using a URL. So the client basically uses a browser to make this request. So any browser like Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox or any other browser can be used. So mostly the request is done using a browser, but it is not necessary. We can also make the request from command line. Now, this URL is when it is entered in the browser, whenever you press enter in the browser, then what happens is this URL, which is actually the request URL, This will be sent to the server on the connection which was opened by the client up to the server. So using this TCP connection, the request will be sent to the server, and the server they will then process this query. So whatever result is required, it will do the processing and it will send back the response to the client. So after the response is sent back to the client, so basically usually the response is an HTML file, and HTML files can be rendered by the browser. So the output of that the output with the response which was sent by the server will be shown to the client in the browser itself. The connection is then closed either by the server or the client or both of them. Now, HTTP is a connectionless protocol. So, connectionless means that after the request is serviced by the server, then the connection between the client and server will be disconnected. So, like we saw that either the client or the server will disconnect the connection. And if the client wants to make a new request, then the client will again have to establish a connection or the TCP connection and then again send a new request. So like we saw in the banking application that the client may send multiple requests to the bank server. So in that case, the client will have to establish a new connection every time and then send a new request every time. So this is what we mean by connectionless protocol. Then HTTP is a stateless protocol. So stateless protocol means that HTTP will not keep track of any state information. So what do we mean by state information? Like the server will not remember that this is the client who had logged in with ABC ID. So the server will not relate to any of the commands that you have executed previously. So even if you had just logged in, so let's say you have logged in the banking application. So when you log in, or let's say you are logging in into your mail account, then when you make a new request, every time the state of that account or the state of that client needs to be sent to the server so that the server can identify which client it is talking to. So that is why we will be needing some other techniques. So in when we will be studying servlets, we will see that we use many state management techniques. We also use cookies or some other technique like that to manage state, because HTTP does not remember the state. So HTTP is a stateless protocol, so it will not remember any previous commands that we had executed or any previous requests. And because we are sending a new request every time, and the state is also not remembered by the HTTP server, that is why we will also have to manage the state. Now HTTP has many different methods like get, post, head, delete, put, link, unlink. Out of these, the only two methods that will be useful to us now are get and post method. So both of these methods, get method as well as post method, both of these are HTTP request methods. So to make a request to the HTTP server, the client may use a get method or it may use a post method. So both of them are request methods. So they are used to request some resource from the server. Now, get method does not have a body content. So when we are sending the get method, so in the header we do not have a body part. So we are just passing the URL. So whatever URL we are passing, we are appending the parameters to it in the URL itself. So because we do not have a body for the get method, so that is why whatever data we want to pass to the server, we will be passing it in the URL itself. Whereas in case of the post method, what we do is the post method has the body. So we will store the parameters or some other information that we want to send to the server. We will store it in the body of our request instead of appending it in the URL. For example, to search a word on Google, what we do is in the browser we enter the address google.com and then in the type some word which is the query word that we want to search. Now you may notice that here the query has changed. So you can see here after google.com you can see there is some query, and here in the query you can see q is equal to http. So this is the word that we were searching for. So this is a GET request. So it is a GET request, which means that the data that we wanted to send to the user, to the server, has been appended in the URL itself. And this URL, this complete URL, has been sent to the server, and then the server has processed the query, and then it has replied with a response which contains these results. So all these results are generated by the server and they are returned to the client in a response which is an HTML response. Now we may also fire a query directly. So if you write, and after the query if you give the word bat, so here you can see now we have the results for bat. So what we are doing is we are simply passing the extra information that we want to give to the server which is related to our request. We are passing those parameters in the query itself. So q is equal to bat is sending the query bat to the Google server, and then the Google server is responding with all the results that it can find which are matching for a bat. So this is an example of GET query. So it is an example of GET method. So HTTP using the GET method to request from the server. Now with the case of when you are logging in, so like the example when you log into Facebook, so what you do is you pass the username and some password. Now what will happen if you are appending the username and the password right here after the URL? So if you write facebook.com question mark username is equal to something and password is equal to something, then what is actually happening is you are exposing the username and the password and you are just appending it and sending it to the server. So your username and password are exposed to the whole world. So hackers can directly hack your username and password from the URL itself, right? So in such cases where you do not want to expose your data, or you do not want to expose the parameters that you are sending to the server, if you want to keep them secret, then it is the best to use post method. So what post method does is it will wrap the username and the password and all other parameters that you are sending, it will wrap them into the header body, and then it will send the request to the server. So here when you log in, you will see that the URL does not change. So we are not sending any data in the URL, and so your data is not getting exposed in the URL. So this is the post method of sending a request from the client to the server. Apart from get and post methods, there are other HTTP methods like head, which returns the HTTP header, and it is useful for debugging and verifying the hypertext links or checking status of files. Then there is put method, which is used for uploading files. Delete method is used for deleting resources present on the server. Link is used for establishing relationships between resources, and unlink is used for breaking the relationships formed between the resources.